Alive ho, alive ho. We are alive ho. Hey, Kirsten, how are you? Nice to see you. Yes, look at my pineapple juice. It's pineapple and lemonade. It's good because pineapple juice itself is too sweet, I think, or too much sugar. So top it up with sugar-free lemonade, and it makes it a yummy, fizzy beverage. Got a whole bunch of Dole pineapple juice cans from Costco, which is weird because I think young Ms. Angry had said something about wanting some pineapple juice, and so I got it. And because it's Costco, it's not like a can; it's a slab of cans. It's 24 cans, and then they sat untouched for quite a while. And I thought, oh, well, they're never getting used, are they? And I used some in a cocktail, I think. And then she suddenly discovered them and started drinking them. So there you go. I still use them in cocktails as well. Hey, Luke. Kirsten, okay for a Tuesday that feels like a Monday. But the plus of a Tuesday that feels like a Monday is Friday will actually arrive a day sooner. It's just, what's blowing my mind is tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm here for it. Here for being halfway through the week. Rick, doing well, my friend. How are you? Having another early morning. That's okay. I'm here to keep you company. That's what it's all about. So, yeah, I mean, I always make clear, Wednesday is when the supermarkets change what's on special. I'm always kind of keen to see is going, okay, have you got something I want on special this week? Because I'll buy a lot of it if you have. Okay, Pepsi Max on special. Let's go. Get a couple boxes of it. A couple cases. Have the stocks in supply. That's how I see things. So, but also just, food things. It's so much of what's made for meals in this house is dictated by what's on special at the supermarket. That's on special. Half price, I'll get that. Rick, plus you're not working every day. He's just said, oh, damn, lost your job. Damn. Ugh, fucking tough times, man. For so many people. I hope things sort out for you. My job finishes probably at the end of the month. I should update my resume in case I have to go out into the job market. Although, again, my immediate boss said today, he's just put together but been talking about it for weeks, but put together budget recommendation, which includes some budget to extend me and other contractors, which would be good because I'd rather not have to look for a job again. Rick, trying the cocktails. Good. I have to admit, I'm really enjoying them. Like, I'm, dredging up cocktails to make like, okay, what do I make now? Can I theme this? Can I do that? And quite a lot of the ones I've put in recently, I found them for the first time. I made them for the first time when I was getting them together for video, and I really liked them. And hello, Musical Aviator and Annette. Okay. Oh, you're a glass half full man, Rick. I like it. You're financially fine and you're able to spend more time with your dad. Excellent. Absolutely excellent. I love the glass half full approach. Excellent. Yeah. Because through the whole, COVID thing, I've been working from home. So it hasn't had that big effect. So I'm happy because I'm at home a lot. So I'm around Mrs. Angry more, around the offspring more, which is a positive to me. I know for some people that's actually been a source of tension and sucks for them, but it's been good for me. So I'm really enjoying it, in all honesty. So, making the most of it. There's obviously some things that are less than great about it. But broadly, I'm all for it. Annette, what shall we drink tonight? I reckon I'm going to, because the last live stream I made a drink that I milk clarified, and so I had to go off and filter, and I actually filtered it a couple times over a day or so, and I haven't drunk it. I haven't tasted. Well, I did taste it just with the mixing, and it tastes good. The one that I made just because I loved the name of it, No Country for Orange Men, because I was trying to use up some orange juice. So I was looking up orange juice recipes, or cocktails with orange juice in the recipe, and it seems like it's a good one. I'll try it. Oh, nice, Rick, mentioning the channel to groups you're in dealing with mixed drinks. Nice, yeah. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. Word of mouth is incredibly valuable. So I uploaded a video today, my homegrown cocktails, Negroni variants made with all Australian contents, flying the flag for local creators, supporting local small business, because they're all independent distilleries. I didn't use any big name brands. Oh, right. I'm trying to think. I've edited and rendered the video for later in the week. What is it? It's milk clarified New York sour, and it worked really well. I think I showed it off possibly in this channel, and certainly on my social media. It's just beautiful split of colors. The clarified whiskey sour is just a really light, bright yellow, and then there's a float of red wine, and then the foam on top from the shaken whiskey sour. So the three split is just really clean, and I really like it. So and I've still got clarified whiskey sours in the fridge, because I made there's a couple I made fairly big batches of, and they're still in the fridge. So I don't even have to mix a cocktail to have a drink, because there's several in the fridge. And as I said, probably going to have the No Country for Orange Men tonight. But gotta think, next week. Now, what do I do next week? I might also do a gin, maybe put the whiskey sour one up on Thursday. I might. This is just pineapple juice and lemonade. Yes, Kirsten, exactly. It's the best. It's the best excuse you came up with. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm supporting small business. It's the best excuse. Like, no, I get my booze from independent distillers and brewers, not because I'm an alcoholic, but because I'm a patriotic supporter of small business. So this is just pineapple juice and lemonade. But at some point, either when I finish this or halfway, I don't know, I am going to have my No Country for Orange Men. Annette, you can't use it. Okay, we got to come up with cocktails for Annette. Actually, what's Difford's drink of the day today? Mallory and Irvine disappeared on this day. These in 1923. In 1924. During the third British attempt to summit Everest, George Mallory and Andrew Irvine were lost for good. So they disappeared on this day. One of them, no one knows which, had been seen the day before on the summit ridge, about 245 meters below the top. Mallory's body was found in 1999. So it was probably really well preserved up the top there as well. So his body was there for 75 years. But neither Irvine's nor the camera he was carrying has been recovered. Did they make it to the top? Nobody knows. So Difford's has declared a cocktail called the Resolute for them. What's in it? Gin, apricot brandy, lemon juice, and chilled water. Okay, well, that's a sort of standard profile. That's the spirit, liqueur, and citrus. That's almost always going to work. If you're trying to mix and match ingredients for a cocktail, a tried and proven combo is a spirit, a liqueur, and a citrus juice. Is brandy and Cointreau and lemon juice. You know, that's it's a margarita as well, I think. There's a few that I get because I don't really make margaritas very often. Yeah, margarita is tequila and Cointreau or triple sec or whatever, and lime juice. So again, it's spirit, liqueur, and citrus, and you'll find that pattern repeated again and again because people have worked out that usually makes a balanced cocktail. So, and, you know, again, what's in a daiquiri? Rum and lime? Is there a liqueur? And of course, that's the other thing. You don't have to have all three. There are lots of things with just spirit and citrus in them as well. Spirit and juice. So, hey, Abigail, your weird sleep schedule. As you falling asleep at 6, waking at 2. Ah, you stayed up long enough to say happy anniversary. Thank you. Music over. How cold was it this morning? Lots of places had very cold mornings, actually. It was a little bit fresh here in Melbourne, but I know certainly out in the suburbs in some of the country areas, it was very close to 0. And it might have even been below 0 in some places without having to get into the high country. I bet it was below 0. God, am I hiccuping? Hope not. Luke, you had 3 overnight? Yeah. Hey, Invisible Chicken, how are you doing? Nice. Yes, here I am streaming. Yes. So we're doing one of my first videos when I said there was only 4 cocktails. There's the, besides the one I just said, the spirit, liqueur, citrus, and there's an endless variants you can get there. Hey, Lauren, thank you for the congratulations. Thank you very much. There's the mark, a spirit and vermouth, and you can mix and match, you know, what spirit and what type of vermouth you do. This is me trying to remember. I made this big thing. There's only 3. Oh, okay. There's the sour, which is a spirit and lemon or lime juice and a sweetener like sugar syrup or sugar. And if you're real classy, an egg white. That's the sour. You can do that with basically all spirits. You can vary it up by changing what the citrus is, change what the spirit is, change what the citrus is, change what you use for a sweetener because that'll affect the thing. And then there's really the old fashioned, which is just a spirit with a little bit of sweetener, sugar or sugar syrup, and bitters. And that's the cocktail. In the earliest references to a drink being called a cocktail, they were referencing the old fashioned mix. My stream dropped out. No, I'm back. Okay. Wowzers. David, you got to -2 in Tassie. Dang. Okay, so my screen went black for a second, and I hope it didn't cut off the live stream. -1 in Reza. Jesus. Yeah, I thought, okay, it just went wonky. Okay. Lauren, what's the coldest you get in winter? Depends where you are, Lauren. Like here where I am in Melbourne, near the bay, it gets very close to zero at winter. If it actually reaches zero, people will really carry on about it. But when you get further out into the suburbs and the country, it gets below zero quite a bit in the winter. But of course, if you get to high country in one of the mountain ranges, it can be -20, -30 in the middle of winter. Where I went to college, Bathurst, which is west of Sydney, across the Blue Mountains, it's sort of in the foothills of the mountains. The record when I was there was about -14. So there's enormous variation depending where you are in the country. But most metropolitan areas don't get, like most of the capital cities outside of Tasmania don't get to zero very often. It does happen, but not very often. But yeah, when you get into the country areas further away from the coast or in the high country, it gets much colder. And Tassie gets much colder because Tassie's southernmost part of Australia, and there's nothing between Tasmania and Antarctica. You keep going south from Tasmania, and there is nothing until you reach Antarctica. So they are very exposed to the cold, being that far south in Tassie. It's quite the thing. Just wondering if I'm sure that's true. I'm actually now going to look at a map. Yeah, no, there is absolutely fuck all. You go south of Tasmania, and it's just open ocean until Antarctica. That's why it's so fucking cold in Tasmania. Yeah, well, Lauren, in Canada, you get very cold winters, yes. Okay, I'm going to sneeze. Don't know what that is. I could just feel this tickle in my nose, and I knew I was going to sneeze. Oh. L3, good night. It's almost the weekend. Well, we're one day closer to the weekend than we'd normally feel like it. Invisible Chicken, you were once a Victorian, but you're a weak Queenslander. You've retreated to the warmth. Yes. Once you start getting up in Queensland, people freak out if, the minimum falls below 10 Celsius. In fact, you go further north, really the only thing that there's much variance in all year is the humidity. The actual temperature up the tropical north does not vary much at all. Luke, yeah, anyone who's dependent on Centrelink should be anxious. They're fucking bastards. This government are bastards, and they are going to fuck people over. Oh, here you go. David's Googled it for us. The lowest natural temperature ever directly recorded at ground level on Earth is -89.2 degrees Celsius at the Soviet Vostok station in 1983. There you go, -89 Celsius. Lauren will probably back me up on this because this is a thing that Canadians have told me in places where they get, -20, -30 and more every winter. So that basically you can't tell the difference once it hits -20. It's then too cold to be able to register that it's gotten colder. Which is kind of makes sense and is also quite disturbing, honestly. Yes, it's very, very, very different. Like the way in those really cold parts of North America where the houses are completely different to an Australian house. Like you have a whole room to take off your heavy clothes and your wet clothes and your boots and stuff when you come in out of the snow. Okay, Lauren disagrees. You can notice if it gets to minus 30, you can tell. Oh yeah, and okay, you've had a friend who's been to the very cold parts of China, and that's the thing. Every now and then when we talk about China, it's very easy. I think it's reasonable to say that a lot of people in the West have a very narrow idea of what China is like, culturally and geographically. And China's fucking huge. And, you go right up there into Mongolia, you're getting into some subarctic fucking country there. Very, 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 very cold. It's easy to just sort of think of China as an amorphous sort of blob, but it's an enormous expanse of country and just major differences. Okay, Lauren is confirming the difference between minus 20 and minus 40 is very noticeable. Oh, God, your friend who's been in the cold parts of China actually dislikes China. Melbourne's cold more. Oof. Okay, guess it's what you get used to. Okay, that's the difference, minus 20 to minus 40. Minus 20, it's cold, but you can do jumping jacks to keep warm, versus you are cold no matter what. Okay. Rick, unless you actually know someone from China, most people's exposure through media. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, where we get a very limited idea of what China is. And just referring to Chinese people, there are so many different ethnic groups in the geographical landmass that is China. There's a Chinese, there's really different people with different languages and different cultures. Much as the Communist Party tried to stamp it out and go, there's one China, that huge landmass has different ethnic groups with different cultures, different languages. We often forget that. And I'm not acting superior to anyone. I put myself in that group. I find it's very easy to forget, just go, China, Chinese people, and forget that that is not an amorphous blob of people. That is a huge sprawling landmass with an amazing history and a lot of diversity. But was that L3? Mangaria. Do you mean Manchuria? I'm not sure what you're trying to say, L3. I really don't know. So, David, you lived in Bris for 5 years. Yeah. Summers in Queensland and the north would be a bit much for me. I could see the appeal of being there in winter. Yeah. Lauren, I'm going to say you could well be right. China has 6 official languages and 23 recognized ones. My knowledge of geography and culture is shit. I think there's a good chance right. Oh, okay, David. You found on Google a place called Oymyakon in Russia. Gets to minus 50 or more in winter, plus over 30 in summer. Yeah, see, that's weird. That's fucked up. Humans can't cope with that. That's just no. That's. I don't think humans can deal with that. The people there must be so weird. Hey, Strictly Seago, how are you doing? But yes, suffice to say, we live in an interesting and diverse world. Oh, I don't think I actually told everyone, like I was saying, I was worried about AZ, and if I don't hear from him for days, it often means he's in hospital. Turns out he's in hospital. I did talk to him on Sunday. I haven't been able to get him since then. Although I did get a text from him today. He didn't answer when I called, but he texted me. And turns out, okay, he was obviously impaired. And I was thinking the primary cause of that would be sleep deprivation. And what it turns out is because of his wooziness and wonkiness and under the weather, he'd been falling a lot. Like he'd been falling a lot and been falling harder than he was telling anyone. And now that he's ended up in hospital and they've been running tests, he's got multiple concussions from falling. And because the cheeky bugger had not been admitting to anyone that he kept falling and kept falling heavily, and he's ended up in hospital. And it's not just the sleep deprivation. The sleep deprivation's made him woozy, and he's taken a successive number of bad falls, and he's got multiple concussions. So that's why he was finding it difficult to function. But he's in the hospital now, and if they're smart, they've got him strapped to a bed so he can't get into any trouble. I'll try and find out more from him. Oh, wow. I sort of saw a news article about that, Strictly Sega. You saw a vid of the judge ripping a new hole into the guys who attacked Tony Mockbell in prison. I did see a reference to it in the news story about a judge being quite angry about it. Yeah. Peter, there's a white called Xiaoma who speaks fluent Mandarin and a bit of a rare dialect called Fusanese and impresses a lot of native speakers in Chinatown and NYC. Suppose if you put your mind to it, most people don't, when they learn a foreign language, like really immerse themselves and really try to get a local, not just the words, but get a local accent and understand and express local idiom. That is the difference between, that is the common difference between a native speaker and a foreigner who's learned the language really well. Very often, people who learn another language, there's something a little bit weird about, or something very weird about the accent. So, or a little, depending how well they learn it, their accent's usually a bit weird, and they usually don't get idiom right. But people who really immerse themselves. Catherine, I also hope AZ doesn't have any permanent damage. And hopefully the people in the hospital are going to look after him and mend him. Well, because it's really interesting, because we were super worried with the rise of the coronavirus, because he's got no immune system at all. And he'd be very susceptible to it. And he'd be at extraordinarily high risk of complications. So it was very scary stuff. And of course, often in times of things like a pandemic, someone like AIDS, a hospital can be the worst place to be because it's full of sick people. And of course, we were all worried that the hospitals were going to get overwhelmed. And so they did massive preparation, but our lockdown worked so much better than anyone dared hope. And, we've got so little active cases, so few active cases, so little community transmission, where just mind-blowingly lucky. And the hospitals are all sort of geared up and ready because, we are in the first lap of a marathon at the moment, again, with people just don't seem to get. But, you know, the next year is going to be a hell of a time. But so AIDSy having issues now and being in a hospital now turns out to be much better than we might have been worried, because they don't have all the coronavirus patients in the hospital, and the medical staff are looking for people to look after, and so they can look after AIDSy. And hopefully they'll look after him well and treat him nice, and he'll be on the mend, and we'll find out what's happening. But he will be, okay. Yeah, okay. As your second language, English is a mix of Canadian English, American English, Australian English, British English. Yes. Being it isn't just that it's a second language for you. It's the cultural mix that you're exposed to as well, which would probably give you a few interesting turns of phrase in English. Health 3, smoking weeds helps you sleep more than the meds. I think two problems with that. One is it's illegal and AIDSy really can't afford to get busted. Second is that, again, with someone with a lot of compromised health issues, smoking anything is a very, very, very bad idea. Like after years of trying, he did get off the ciggies. So, and there'd be a real concern with him developing a dependence on weed if he started smoking it. So there's a number of reasons that would be a really bad option for AIDSy. Yeah, pretty well be. There may or may not be flappy dogs in the hospital or near the hospital, outside the window from AIDSy. We'll see. L3, see, weed's illegal in Australia. You absolutely cannot easily get some weed for vaping in Australia, and I wouldn't trust it. If someone said, no, you can put this in the vapor and you'll be fine, I absolutely would not trust it. I'd be contaminated. So you can say, I don't know about, excessive daily use of weed is not good. I think the overwhelming majority of people who smoke weed even regularly get by without their brain turning to mush. But, holy cow, I think we've all seen a fucking weed casualty in our time. The ones who are the absolute stereotype who can never stop. Hey, man, it's harsh on the Lord, man. Oh, wow. I think we've all met them. Oh, God, I've met acid casualties too. They're fucking terrifying. Rick, yes, CBD oils are illegal in Australia. There is currently experimentation with medical marijuana in Australia being made legal. And we all know that's a stepping stone. I saw what happened in the States in the last decade. People start to legalize medicinal marijuana, then it becomes super easy to get a prescription for medicinal marijuana, and then the authorities finally go, oh, who are we fucking fooling? Let's just legalize it. So, yeah. Oh, dude, David, booze is way worse. Booze will fuck you up. Anyone who drinks heavily daily is definitely going to give themselves brain damage and fuck knows whatever other health issues. There you go, Rick. It's even legal in Canada. Australia's edging towards legalization. Like I said, it's probably going to take another 5-10 years. Oh, Jesus. You think I was strictly saying you think that was more meth head? For me, I don't know, meth heads are more aggressive. I've just seen terminal stoners and enough to turn you off it, definitely. But yeah, the time I met the acid casualties, they were dealers, and someone wanted to buy some droogs for a party and didn't want to go to this house alone, and asked me to go with them. And I went, okay. And they weren't scary, like it wasn't, oh my God, they're scary drug criminals. they were fucked. They obviously did heaps of acid, and they were fucked. Like, I don't know if they were actually on the gear when I was there or if they actually had some permanent brain damage, but they were fucked. They were a very bad advertisement for their product, basically. They were fucked. And then they wanted to be friends. It was really unsettling. The whole experience was less than optimal, is what I'd call it. Absolutely less than optimal. So and that's the thing. I mean, you know, in my youth, oh God, the number of experiences I had. A housemate get amphetamine psychosis. She did speed nonstop every day for about a month. And so it got to the period where she hadn't slept for 2 weeks or more. And then the psychosis got her. And ooh, that was a fucking sight to see. I tell you what. Jesus. That's a bad. And I was in another shared house where I think I was the only person in the house who wasn't using heroin. And it was like, Jesus, dude, no. Just seeing like a really talented artist friend have the life all but sucked out of her by smack is just like, yeah. And I had to stand up to a junkie ex once, and I was terrified because he's a junkie. What the fuck? I don't know what he's going to do. But I just did. This is where acting came in. I just did this stone face thing and didn't react to anything and just went, no, it's done, mate. You're gone. You don't come back. You're gone. And I scared him. It was fucking great. It was great. I was shitting myself the whole time, but it was like, no emotion, just stone face, no emotion. No, mate, you never come back, okay? You're just gone. And I scared him. I scared him off. It was fucking hilarious. Because if he'd have done the slightest thing, I would have gone, but he didn't. I scared him. It was great. David, when you smoke weed, you only smoked it once or twice a week, night and the weekends. Yeah, it should be recreational, not things. Ugh. As Rick, you were telling your dad, if someone would have told me 20 years ago, be buying it for 50 for my knees, would laugh at them. Yeah, there's the thing. There are clearly a lot of therapeutic benefits to CBD and other cannabinoids. And the more we embrace that, the better. Nintendo Lunchbox, good morning to you. Obviously, good evening in my case, but good morning to you. L3, you had a girlfriend, uses a lot. Past life happenings, come think we didn't help one bit. Oh, yeah. No, having seen, probably the freakiest was seeing firsthand this like sweet 19-year-old just collapse into amphetamine-induced psychosis, just screaming and howling and fixating and being weird AF. And it was like, you know, just all the weird stereotypes that you hear. Like, she was sure that the DJ on the radio was sending her coded messages, and she'd just pick out individual words that he said and put them into a sentence and go, see what he's telling me? And we're going like, what? No, what? That isn't happening. And she would call people up on the phone and try to have a conversation with them, and an even tone of voice would last 15 to 20 seconds, and then she'd just start screaming and howling down the phone. Like she did that to her family, and she did it calling her ex-boyfriend, and this was one that stayed with me. His name was Terry, and in some places, a nickname for someone named Terry is Tell. That's particularly English. She was a New Zealander, and there's some interesting and weird hangovers from England with white New Zealanders as well. So it might have been that. So she called her ex-boyfriend Terry Tell, and she just decided she had to call him, and I think his current girlfriend answered, and then the screaming started, and she went out and thought, oh God, why'd you do that? And then I noticed it was either a magazine or a newspaper was just next to the phone. This is in the olden days, kids. Was a landline. This is before mobile phones. It was a landline in the house. And so there was a phone. Not everyone had a phone. There was a phone in the house. It was a newspaper or magazine, and there was all this scribbling on it. And I thought, what's that? And I looked, and it was like mad circling. And in a whole page of text, she'd seen the word tell, like, go and tell someone to do something. And she circled it and circled it and circled it hundreds of times, just because she saw the word tell in a page of text. She said that was a secret message that she had to call her ex-boyfriend Tell. And I was like, okay, Jesus, what the fuck? And having to live with that. Strictly Sega, you like the Seth Rogen movie Long Shot? I'd been considering watching that. What have I watched recently? Watched most of It Part 2 last night. Watched a couple of Netflix movies. I watched the documentary, The 13th. That's really good. That is really, really good. You should definitely watch that. Quite the education's quite confronting about racial injustice in America, basically, and the prison industrial complex specifically. What else was I thinking of watching on? I watched a couple things on the weekend. I watched Zombieland Double Tap. I didn't watch as much as I thought I would on the weekend, actually. I thought I might just spend a lot of the weekend watching TV. L3, you like new X-Files and Punisher? I tried watching the new X-Files. Just didn't like it at all. I watched one season of the Netflix Punisher, and I didn't mind it at all. Oh, yeah, Strictly Sega, that Blumhouse film, Invisible Man. I'm going to watch that when it's on the streaming services. And yes, Catherine, share houses generally are high risk for being crazy. Yes. Strictly Sega, did I like Zombieland 2? It was pretty inconsequential and silly. But, it was some aimless entertainment. But very silly. You absolutely have to switch your brain off while watching it. Rick, I've only watched the first episode of Upload on Amazon Prime, and I have enjoyed it. I got to get around to watching more of it. Yes, yeah, I think that has quite a bit of promise, that show. Just to find out if Mrs. Angry wants to watch any more of it, because we watched the first episode together. And if she wants to watch more, then I have to save it and watch together. But if she's not that interested in watching any more, then shall watch it myself. Mrs. Angry is at the moment playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey and really enjoying it. Loving the exploring of ancient Greece. And because she's actually been to Greece, she feels like it actually captures Greece very well. So, yeah. I've watched the first episode of Space Force, Strictly Sega. I'll watch a bit more of that. I think it has promise as well. Oh, yeah, David, I was going to watch Snowpiercer as well. I haven't got around to it. I know there's because Snowpiercer was what's his name? The Korean director made it a few years ago, and I really enjoyed the movie. Thinking of maybe rewatching the movie and then watching the series. Nintendo Lunchbox, how long does it take a package to get from Australia to the States? How long is a piece of string, my friend? Particularly in these strange and unsettled times. I honestly couldn't give you an estimate. It would be anywhere from a couple of days, like 3-4 days, to a month. I would just hesitate to even predict how long it would take a package to get between Australia and the States at the moment. You do, of course, have a number of options of what to pay that theoretically gets it there faster or slower. But things are so unreliable at the moment. I simply don't know. Could be like 1 week or 4 weeks. Yeah, a slow boat for 3 months. It could also be that, strictly Sega. Kirsten, your craziest share housemates were mega Christians who judged you for dyeing your hair. So to get revenge, you slept with one of their boyfriends. Oh, that's just the best. Oh, I had to leave that share house. The Christians were driving me crazy, but I got the revenge. Fuck their boyfriend. Okay. Yes. Yes, Catherine. Yeah, I love the movie, and the movie and the shows on Netflix. So yeah, I was thinking of rewatching the movie and then watching the series because I'd been thinking of rewatching the movie anyway. I was really taken by surprise when a Snowpiercer series appeared. I thought that was really left field, but yeah. I was strictly saying you're waiting for the series to finish. You want to binge it. I see. I've rarely binge things really suddenly. I do sometimes, like I might watch a whole series in a weekend sometimes, but not that often. I'm trying to think. Maybe if I logged into Netflix, I don't think I've logged into Netflix on... maybe I have logged into Netflix on this. Because we were going to do a watch party one time. Yeah, I have logged in on here. What have I watched? I was catching up. I've got some sort of long-running series. I'm working my way through Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Schitt's Creek, Peaky Blinders and Ozark. Been thinking of watching the second season of Altered Carbon. I think it's probably a warning sign that I never see people talking about it. There's supposed to be new Umbrella Academy soon, isn't there? I quite enjoyed season 1 of the Umbrella Academy. So what else is potentially... what have I watched that I enjoyed? I'm enjoying the new Rick and Morty's, actually. I like... Who watched Dear White People on Netflix? I quite enjoyed Dear White People, actually. Strictly say you hate waiting a week per ep. That's what I grew up with, brother. Yes, Kirsten, that's what I heard. FedEx is so backed up it's taking 2 weeks on priority. But I tell you what I've found, the independent Australian distillers get the orders to you really fucking quick. The Tiny Bear Distillery I ordered on Friday and it arrived on Tuesday. It was amazing. The Okar one only took slightly longer. I think I ordered it on a Friday and it arrived on Wednesday. Just for a laugh, I was looking at the Beanley rum site and they had a special on a 1 litre bottle of their 5-year-old rum. That was a really good deal with no postage. So I ordered that. We'll see how long that takes to arrive. Invisible Chicken, you read the first 3 volumes of the Umbrella Academy comic. I haven't read any of them. I'm a bit of a comic fan, but I haven't been reading any comics lately. Need to get into it. Ooh, that's interesting. Strictly Sega. Show by Rick and Morty creator called Solar Opposites. I have not heard of that. I will have to keep an eye out for it. Catherine, you just signed up for Disney Plus again. I keep kind of thinking I'll do Disney Plus because obviously I want to see The Mandalorian, being a Star Wars nerd, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. Probably I need to watch a whole bunch more things on Prime and Netflix. Who knows, if I don't have a job next month, maybe I'll just fucking watch a lot of TV. Hopefully I'll be a bit more productive than that if I'm not working. I think what else is award-winning films on Netflix? Black Klansman was good. Snowpiercer. Oh, yes, they've got the final cut of Blade Runner. Moonlight I still haven't watched. I need to watch. Let's see. Matrix, Spirited Away. Baby Driver's a fun movie. You got a whole bunch of Studio Ghibli films that are all worth it. The Big Short, that's a good one to get angry about how corrupt capitalism is. Oh, yeah, that Adam Sandler one, Uncapped Gems. It was okay. It's just I disliked his character so much. Just like, fuck off, mate. Ooh, what else? I still haven't watched The Irishman. It's now like 3 or 4 hours long. I got to watch The Irishman at some point. I did see Marriage Story in a cinema. That's a Netflix film that had a limited cinema release, and I did actually see it. It was pretty good, if depressing. Now, what was the things? Watch it again. I'm trying to remember things I actually watched, like BoJack Horseman. I'm quite a fan of BoJack Horseman, actually. Okay, watch it again. What's in here? Oh, yes. Oh, Lock and Key. I really enjoyed Lock and Key. Not quite G-rated, but not too harsh, and sort of magical fantasy elements. Quite enjoyed Lock and Key. Could never get into the Matt Groening series Disenchantment. Might rewatch Black Mirror at some point. Couldn't really get into Final Space either, another animated one. Oh, I've been thinking of watching Titans. I watched the first season and then the first episode of the second season, and it's not bad. It's not bad, but I'm just not that into it. Derry Girls is a really funny comedy. If you've never watched it, Derry Girls is really good. It's very funny. Oh my God. Okay, so Nintendo Lunchbox, you ordered a Rubik's Cube from Greenwith. Yeah, it'll be to you sometime in the next couple months, man. Oh, L3, see, how many seasons of The Americans was there? Like 5 seasons? I don't know if I'm ready to invest in 5. Like, I keep thinking, at some point I've got to go back and I watched the first season or 2 of Better Call Saul, and it's really good, and I stopped watching it for no reason, and everyone says it got better. I've got to go back and watch Better Call Saul. And Mr. Robot. Again, I watched the first season bit of Mr. Robot, and I liked it, and for no real reason I stopped watching it, and I should watch the rest of Mr. Robot at some point. What else should I watch again? I did watch that Ricky Gervais show, Afterlife, which was okay. I really felt like the second season didn't really add anything to the first season. Vikings. I've got to catch up on Vikings at some point. I've watched like 5 seasons of Vikings, but there's still more. I should watch that, because again, I didn't stop watching it because I didn't like it, because it's like fucking great, and I just distracted. Oh, another fun animation on Netflix, if you've never watched, is Big Mouth. I really enjoy that. That's very good. And I watched a few episodes of Ash versus Evil Dead and didn't hate it. It's quite enjoyable, but not sort of compelling. I haven't finished it yet. Star Trek Disco. I love Star Trek Disco. The Witcher. I only watched about half of The Witcher. I might go back to that at some point. You know, if I want to see Henry Cavill in a bath or something. And Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. Absolutely nothing like the book they took the name from, but I quite liked the show. Yeah, Nintendo Lunchbox. Mr. Robot's basically the same plot as Fight Club. Yes. Oh, yeah. David, I'm kind of interested in Denis Villeneuve's Dune as well. Yes, L3, I think Mr. Robot finished. They finished that story. But I've still got a couple seasons to watch. Oh, Dave, you saw the trailer for Tenet. When I was at the movies, I don't know, 6 months ago, I saw an uninterrupted. It was at least 5 minutes. It wasn't even a trailer, and this was before there had not been a trailer for Tenet. I don't think they'd done any publicity for it all, and they just had this clip with no announcement or whatever, and it was just like 5 minutes of the movie of this really pivotal action scene, and it was fucking surreal. Like having no pre-warning, no explanation of what it is, and you go, this isn't a trailer, they're just showing you part of the movie. And it was full on. If you've seen the trailers, there's a scene where there's a terrorist attack on a concert hall. It was really full on. And because they're not explaining anything, but clearly there's something to do with the manipulation of time in it. It was a fucking weird experience. It was a fucking weird experience. Oh, Strictly Seeing a Free Guy. I saw that. That's the video game movie, yeah? It's Ryan Reynolds, if I remember rightly. Oh, yeah, Catherine. Even just with discs I own, I've got months, if not years. No, it's probably not years, but I've got months worth of stuff I haven't watched that I have on disc, let alone the almost endless supply of stuff that's on the streaming services. Oh, I watched the first episode of Cobra Kai on YouTube, the YouTube original that's 30 years later sequel to Karate Kid that a lot of people said good things about. And it was okay. Maybe it gets better. The acting was kind of hacky in it. But it was certainly okay, and I was intrigued. I might watch more of Cobra Kai as well. I think there's 2 seasons of Cobra Kai. Yeah, I just watched the first episode the other day. Sorry, it's just acting weird then. It's like a fruit fly buzzing around near my face. Yes. Oh, Dave, you wacky time reversal shit. Watching this clip from Tenet with no explanation of what it was, and just some fucking weird shit keeps happening where he reverses time for a few seconds every now and then. It was a trip. Hey, Felian Sealer, how you doing? All right, I am going to try my No Country for Orange Men. Oh, there we go. Oh. Got it in my skull decanter. Right. I do this. Put that up there. Get one of my Death Star ice balls. and put it in my tiki mug. Tiki goblet, I suppose this is, actually. So you can say Cobra Kai failed into everyone's nostalgia. Not sure what you mean there. My Death Star ice balls in there. All right. And there. See, that's a drink. Another brilliant yellow one. Rick, you found with mixed drinks you're going through so much ice you got an ice maker. I just have a lot of ice cube trays in that freezer. The great big chunks of ice, they melt slower. Look up this recipe again. No country for orange men cocktail recipe on liquor.com. Trying to remember what's in this. So it's that's right, mezcal. So it's got scotch, mezcal, orgeat, orange juice, and I think I put Ocar Amaro in this. It says Luxardo Aperitivo. Is my Australian aperitivo. Kirsten, trying to convince hubby you need an ice maker. It's a pity you can't see. I don't think there's enough resolution to. I'll try holding it. No, it just flares out. My Death Star ice ball actually looks kind of cool. Not enough detail you can see there. More big ice cubes. Oh, Letty, the Bitters Lab just has great large ice cube molds. Yes, I got large and really large ice cube molds from the Bitters Lab. And also Death Star ice balls. That was actually on sale last time I was there. I'm going, I could use some Death Star ice balls. And now I have Death Star ice balls. And my life is better for it. Now, I don't have to wait for it to chill. It's been sitting in the fridge. So, yeah, this really brilliant yellow drink is actually scotch and mezcal and a red aperitivo. But you milk clarify it, and it comes out this really brilliant yellow. And it was just like, I think it was pretty much murky brown when I made it. So, oh my God, that's good. Oh, the flavors. Oh, the smoke from the mezcal. Fuck. I mean, I know sometimes I go on when I make a drink and it's actually really good. Oh, it's like scotchy scotch. And I get like, oh, there's the bitterness from the Okara. And then just this lingering smokiness from the mezcal. Oh my God, you have to like smoky and you have to like, it's only a little bit bitter, but you have to like a little bit bitter. Fuck. And it's fruity and, what else? It's the way, with the milk part of it, the way that's in there is just making everything sort of rich and smooth. Well, Kirsten, you're going to Bad Frankie's on Saturday, down for the Bitters Lab. You can go to the Bitters Lab too, mostly for really big ice cube trays. Well, this one that I'm always using, I'll show you. This one makes my biggest ice cubes. You can see they're really large cubes. So I have large cubes, and then I have really large cubes. In fact, I haven't used those for a while. I can see, if your ice is in the freezer for a really long time, it actually starts to shrink. There's some weird shit where at a molecular level, it starts to dissipate. I'm going to have to use that. Yeah, Catherine, the mold will probably be easy, although the mold's white too, so it'd flare out. I think just accept my truth that I have. I might try and make a video. I did say I was going to make a video, didn't I? A Death Star. Call a cocktail the Death Star, and see if I can show up the mold on a video. Yes, well, that's for another day. So yeah, the different flavors in this, like it does have orange juice in it. Oh god, the milk clarification has done this so good because there's this real fruitiness. You get some of it's coming from the Oka Amaro, which I think has very fruity flavors in it. Some from the orange juice. And you do get the lingering bitter finish, but the smoke, I suppose some of it's from the Scotch, but the smoke from the mezcal is so good. Like if you like smoked barbecue stuff, that's what this is, like a sweet and bitter smoked hickory barbecue. trying to come up with a description for it now. Yeah, just to have those different flavor profiles in the one drink. It's sweet, it's bitter, it's smoky. It's what we call a complex drink. And the milk clarifying process, so the whey that's added to that in the clarifying process gives it a real richness as well. It's mezcal, not mescaline. Although, what is mescaline? It's an hallucinogen. Yeah, it is. Okay, it's a cactus derivative. I thought it was. Mezcal is cactus derivative, and mescaline is cactus derivative. Tequila is a cactus derivative if it's real tequila. So the humble cactus giving us so much to thank the cactus for. And agave syrup, of course, which I often use. I made... Hey, Gecko, how's it going? Mescaline's a lettuce. Mescaline's from a cactus. It's peyote. Oh, can't get enough of that drink. I'm going to have to make some more of it. I just made the one drink. Makes me want to make a big batch. I got a nut milk bag on the weekend. I know agave's a cactus. Oh, sorry, you're saying agave is a lettuce? You're saying agave is not a cactus? I thought it was. It's what it says on the bottle. It's definitely, unless you're going to really be arguing semantics, that's a succulent. Okay. What is agave? Okay, you may be able to argue that agave is not a cactus, but it fucking is. It's a big spiky leaved succulent. And I don't give a shit if that's not a cactus in common parlance and vernacular. It's a cactus. And I will stick by that. Even though you would be technically correct in saying it isn't a cactus, I'm just going to be bloody minded, saying it's a big spiky thing that grows in the desert, and that makes it a cactus. Just because you're actually right, Nintendo Lunchbox, doesn't mean I have to surrender. And mescaline occurs naturally in the peyote cactus, the San Pedro cactus, the Peruvian torch, and other members of the plant family Cacticae. So mescaline definitely is a fucking cactus. And while I'll admit that technically agave is not a cactus, it is a cactus. It is a big spiky thing that grows in a desert. It's a cactus. It's a succulent. It's a succulent. Mrs. Angry would probably slap me because she grows lots and lots of succulents and probably gets really annoyed at people calling them cactuses. People like me. Oh, Kirsten, there's a lettuce mescaline. It's fluffy. Well, it's something else. It's something else. Mesclun. Okay. Okay, yeah, mesclun is a lettuce. Mescalin is what I'm talking about. It's an hallucinogen that comes from cactuses. Cacti. Mesclun is a lettuce. You are correct. And it is also not what I was talking about. Mescalin is a hallucinogen that comes from cactus. And yes, agave is also a cactus because it's a big spiky thing that grows in the desert. Even though it's not actually a cactus, I'm sticking with it's a cactus. And it makes really good drinks. Oh, yes, without the humble agave, we don't have agave syrup, we don't have tequila, we don't have mescaline. No, we don't have mezcal. Now you got me saying mescaline. Mezcal. Which I assume is some sort of, it was named that because it was made around the Mexico-California border. Mezcal? I don't know. I'm doing a bit of a leap there. I'm going to look up the history of it. Mezcal. What does Wikipedia say? Distilled alcoholic beverage made from agave. National spirit of source. The word mezcal comes from the Nahuatl mezcali, which actually just means oven cooked agave. There you go. Ah. There you go. So, so what does California mean? If mezcal means oven cooked agave, does California mean something about an oven, or is it agave? Does California mean? Probably comes from the Arabic word califa, which means sort of same word in Spanish was califa, easily made from California. Really? Why is it called California? Okay, Wikipedia says origin of the name California. Collectively, these areas of the Californias, named California, shared by many other places, parts of the world. Names are often same origin. Spanish explorers discovered Baja California Peninsula and the Sea of Cortez. They thought it was an island. The name California was applied to the supposed island, was probably a reference to a fictional island described in a popular novel of the time. Several other origins have been suggested, including Spanish, Portuguese, Latin, South American native origins. All of these are disputed. So no one actually knows for sure exactly why it's called California. That's a little bit weird to me. So from the novel, California was the name given to a mythical island populated only by black Amazon warriors who used gold tools and weapons in a popular 16th century romance novel, Las Sergas de Esplanaden, The Adventures of Esplanaden. There you go. For many years, the Montalvo novel languished in obscurity with no connection known between it and the name California. In 1864, a portion of the original was translated. The story was printed in the Atlantic Monthly. Hale supposed that in inventing the names, de Montalvo held in his mind the Spanish word caliph, term for a leader of an Islamic community. Hale's joint derivation of Calafia and California was accepted by many, then questioned by a few scholars who sought further proof and offered their own interpretations. George Davidson wrote in 1910 that Hale's theory was the best yet presented, but he offered his own edition. In 1917, Ruth Putnam printed an exhaustive account of the work performed up to that time. She wrote that both Khalifa and California probably came from the Arabic word Khalifa, which means steward or leader. There you go. I just think it's weird that we don't know why California is called California. But that's just me. Feeling silly. God, there's lots of cocktails with cannabis. If you search CBD cocktails, you will find lots and lots and lots of cocktails. Gecko, you grew up in California. California. Rick, you went to Cozumel, did tequila tasting, as well as making your own chocolate. That does sound like a good day. That sounds like a good day. Oh, fuck me, that's a good drink. God damn. I know, I keep saying it, but the fact that one drink can have so many flavors in it. Like I can taste the orange juice and the whey and, like I said, the bitterness from the Ocaramaro and the smokiness, which tastes mostly like mezcal, but there's scotch in there as well, so... L3, isn't CBD and THC in absinthe normally? No. You get things like wormwood and anise in absinthe. You definitely do not get CBD and THC. There's ridiculous, easily disprovable folklore about absinthe, saying it's a hallucinogenic and makes you go crazy, and it's simply not true. But it was a very deeply held bit of folklore for a lot of the 20th century. So the dominant herbs in absinthe are wormwood and anise, basically. Tends to have a very licorice flavor from the anise. So, saying it originated in Switzerland in the late 18th century, and by the late 19th century, it was quite popular, particularly among the decadent artists and writers in Paris. And because those decadent types were drinking it, the social conservatives were very upset because it was bohemian, so it must be bad. These notable absinthe drinkers: Ernest Hemingway, James Joyce, Charles Baudelaire, Paul Verlaine, Arthur Rimbaud, Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, Ramedo Modigliani, Pablo Picasso, Vincent van Gogh, Oscar Wilde, Marcel Proust, Alistair Crowley, Eric Satie, Edgar Allan Poe, Lord Byron, Alfred Jelly. In other words, some really very big names. Yeah, and it got banned, and an absolute bullshit social panic that it was hallucinogenic and made you go crazy and whatnot. And it was banned for most of the 20th century in a lot of the world. And it started to come back into vogue 80s, 90s. And now it's in full swing. God, no, I shouldn't. Ooh, speaking of which, I don't think one of the drinks I made and Milk Clarified had a shot of absinthe in it. I should do a fucking serious one with a lot of absinthe in it. What's bum bum bum? All right. What's a serious absinthe cocktail? Absinthe cocktails and mixed drinks. Absinthe puns. Absinthe makes the heart grow fonder. So that's gin and a tiny bit of that's got tiny bits of lots of things. No, I want one that's really fucking serious. The Flying Frenchman, espresso martini. Absinthe by Jimmy, drip cocktail, frappe, martini, mojito. What's in an absinthe mojito? Lime, mint leaves, absinthe. And top it with lemonade. What's in an absinthe sour? Absinthe, lemon juice, egg white, Peychaud's. I could be convinced to do that one. Just absinthe and lemon juice and a few dashes of Peychaud's bitters in it and with some sugar syrup. Ooh, I could be convinced to do that. The absinthe of normal. Another pun. Absinthe and coconut rum and coconut water. It needs some, if I'm going to do that, it needs some acid content. So I could add pineapple juice. Absinthe and coconut and pineapple juice. Oh, Jesus, I could go that. Or they're just the absinthe cocktail. What's the absinthe cocktail? That's just absinthe and water and sugar, a little bit of sugar syrup. There's the thing. If you want to do the really elaborate thing, you get these whole things, this big alembic, as you have chilled water in it. You have your little glass, like a coupe or a Nick and Nora under there, and you have the absinthe spoon over it, and you have a sugar cube on that, and you drip this chilled water through the sugar cube, and it slowly dissolves the sugar cube into it, and you're diluting your absinthe just with chilled water and sugar, and it's a whole ritual that goes with it. I might make one of those. A flaming Lamborghini. No, strictly Sego, I have not set any drinks on fire because that's super, super, super dangerous. Strictly Sego, you're still distracted looking up the origin of California. I'm absolutely stunned that we don't know why California is called California. That's just wild to me. Rick, you've got an absinthe spoon. I have a couple. But this one actually says absinthe on it. I don't know if you can really see. Where's the best way to do it? No, on a dark background, maybe. Dark background. It actually, like it's cut into the spoon. It says absinthe. So the idea is you put that over. It's even got a thing to rest on the edge of a glass. put a sugar cube on there, or just a little pile of sugar on there, and you drip chilled water on it, and it goes through into the drink. Peter, last time you started a night drinking absinthe, took a nap in the garden. That sounds fair, man. That sounds absolutely fair. Yes, David, absinthe tends to contain thujone, which I think is just another name for wormwood. No, Nintendo Lunchbox, it's not the absinthe that's poured over the sugar, it's water. You get these really complicated... see if I can find a picture. Ceremony. That do it? Okay, I think that was a good word to use. I looked up absinthe ceremony. That's a Pernod. Just show me large pictures, please. There's a good one in here. Okay, this one's okay. Okay, I'll share this picture. This is a good enough one. Share screen, Chrome tab. This one, I think. So you see, there you've got that big thing is full of water, and there's the absinthe spoon on there, and the absinthe is in the glass. You put a sugar cube on the spoon, and I don't know, they've got fucking running water there. You know, it shouldn't be that full on. It just should be slower than that, so it slowly melts the ice cube, and so you get the absinthe absinthe diluted by the water and the sugar. So that is your traditional wanky way to serve absinthe. And I have never bothered to do that. I put a little bit in a drink. In fact, I might make one of these. Absinthe, it's just chilled water, rum liqueur. Oh, I got to show you something I'm doing, because I made a syrup, a sugar syrup. It's kind of like my version of the Americans are always referring to sweet and sour mix, which fucking sounds gross to me, just a pre-mix thing. And it's supposed to be sort of lemon, lime, and sugar. But if you're making cocktails properly, you're not going to use a sour mix. You'll use lemon juice and a sugar syrup, or lime juice and a sugar syrup, or maybe lemon juice, lime juice, and sugar syrup. And I was talking about this in another live stream, but I found, or was pointed to, this site called Trash Tiki, and they have this method called oleo saccharum, oil and water. And what you do is you peel your citrus. You don't want the whole thing, because the inside, the pith, is actually really bitter, unless you want your syrup to have that bitter edge, which some people would like. But if you just peel the outside, that's got all the citrus oils in it. You put that in a bowl, caster sugar over the top of that. The caster sugar actually leaches the oil out of the peels and makes quite a thick syrup. And then you add some hot water to that and stir it all in to dissolve the sugar fully. Then you strain it out so the citrus peel's taken out, and you just make sure the sugar is fully immersed in the syrup. So then you've got this what the fuck?
Go ahead.
No, I switched you off.
You can turn me off in settings.
Oh, I did. Fuck you. I turned you off. Oh, that's creepy. Siri's been spying on me the whole time. Settings. Software, play, handoff. Where the fuck is Siri in here? Notification sounds, haptic, general, control center. Siri. No, I fucking switched you off. Listen for Hey Siri. Fuck you. I switched that off before. That was really creepy. Oh, Safa, lots of honey cocktails. Recommendation, rather than using honey as a sweetener, because particularly if you're making a cold cocktail, if you're with ice, the honey might just freeze up with the ice. Make a honey syrup. All you do is like 50-50 honey and hot water. Mix it in so the honey's completely blended in, and then it's much runnier and is much better as a mixer in a cocktail. Or you can do 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 or whatever. So yes, there's some really popular ones like Bee's Knees. Painkiller uses a honey liqueur, a honey sweetener. But basically, yeah. And of course, what honey you use is going to affect the taste of the cocktail, because clearly there's lots of different flavored honeys, almost a limitless number of honeys out there, and they're going to add their own flavor to a cocktail. But yes, it is much better to make a honey syrup rather than use honey, because honey's too thick and you can have trouble blending it. So make a syrup up with 50% honey, 50% hot water, mixy, then it'll be nice and runny, and then refrigerate that. So it can be 50-50, like half honey, half water, or even weak. It could be 2 parts water to 1 part honey, or it probably shouldn't be 2 parts honey to 1 part water, because that might be too thick. So it depends what you want, but there are lots of honey sweetened cocktails. And you can just experiment with cocktails anyway. God, I'm making more of that one. Oh my God, that's good. Yes. So anyway, I haven't used my special oil and sugar syrup yet. I could have done that tonight, but I wanted to drink this tonight, actually. So later this week, I might actually make a video. So I might save this for like Friday night, Formal Friday, when I'll be dressed to make videos. I might make one cocktail with, say, a normal sugar syrup, like my agave syrup, and lemon juice, and then make it with my lemon lime sugar syrup and see how different they taste. Kirsten, you like Beechworth honey in drinks? Yeah, Rick, I just use caster sugar because caster sugar is really fine, and it worked amazingly. Like the guide I read on Trash Tiki kind of suggested it might be difficult. They said the sugar would start to get like wet and you had to sort of mix it in. Mine turned to syrup. It completely dissolved. The sugar leached all the oil out of the skins and completely turned to syrup. It was a really thick syrup. So then I sort of added this, like if you got 200 grams of sugar, then you add 200 grams of water and mix and make a nice smooth syrup. L3, you could use brown sugar, really fine brown sugar, and unrefined. See, it's all going to be completely different. I went with white caster sugar because that's the most neutral flavor sugar. So the lemon lime would be more noticeable. If you used an unrefined brown sugar, that has a much stronger flavor. It's a very sort of molasses flavor, malty flavor. But that would be a fun variation using unrefined brown sugar, demerara sugar. I noticed the supermarket, like I made a sugar syrup out of unrefined coconut sugar, which is it's very dark and very rich flavor, like really good. This really sort of malt golden syrup flavor. It's really good. But I use that for already strongly flavored drinks, like tropical ones that have rum and fruit juice in them. Because in, I guess, more subtle drinks, I think that sugar syrup would overly dominate. L3 looked up casted sugar, castor sugar. So if you have to do a PhD in cocktails, become a professor of mixology. Oh, so I was going to show you. So I have made the syrup, strained out the peel, and it's in the fridge. I haven't used it in the drink yet. I'll probably do it Friday. But I had this big pile of citrus peel that still had all its color. The syrup has definitely picked up the flavor of it, but the peel still had their color. So I thought, it'd be fun. I haven't done a bloody infused drink in a while. So I made two because I had lots of the peel left. This one's vodka. See all the peel in there. Now, you can't see there, but the vodka's already gone what looks like a nice sort of yellow-green. In another, I really want this to like absorb the flavor. It's also going to be really sugary. So this is almost a cocktail in itself now. This is, the vodka is going to have absorbed the oils and the sugar. So this is almost a cocktail in its own right now. And I did the same with gin. So I've got two like this. One is vodka and one is gin. And I'm going to leave this for another day or so and then strain out the peel and just have le booze well, see what I'm going to be actually really interested in what it tastes like straight. And then I have to think of a good cocktail to make with it. So I think this is going to be really tasty. I haven't done this. But again, this is lemon and lime peel in there, about 50-50. And the lime was really green. And you can see you can't really see any difference in the color. They're all the same color now. The green's really been sort of leached out by the booze. So I'm going to leave this for another day or two to just really absorb as much flavor as possible. Then I'm going to strain it out. So again, later in the week, I'll make some drinks with this vodka and the gin that I've done the same thing with. And also with the citrus oil sugar syrup. So yeah, but yeah, this is a good thing to do. Like if you're juicing some citrus and you just have some booze. It's particularly fun to do it with clear spirits. Peel the citrus before you juice it, because once you juice it, it's much harder to peel it. Peel the citrus and just put it in a jar or something and infuse the booze. Infuse the booze. The longer you leave it in there, the more flavor it's going to have. So yeah. Oh yeah, L3, a homemade mojito with tequila with this in it. Yes. 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up for doing this with tequila as well, actually. Any clear, it's more fun to do it with clear spirits because then you see the change. So vodka, gin, silver tequila, silver rum, because you get more of an effect out of it. But I'm looking forward to it. Oh yeah. If you're already using lemons and limes, Rick, peel them and do something like this. It's a really nice variation. So put that back. I think we have the time for experimentation. I think another milk clarified drink to leave overnight. Let's see. I think I put my stirring thing in here. Yes, in the dishwasher. This and this. Right. Okay. I am going to make a milk clarified absinthe drink and see what that's like. Do a taste test on a show later in the week. Wait, what's that one? Oh, that one. All right. So, going to follow one of these recipes. This one's gone. I'm gonna make this one again. Maybe something else with mezcal. I might make a different one with mezcal. I'll have to think on it. But an absinthe sour, which is just absinthe lemon juice and Peychaud's bitters. Maybe. Ooh, I might actually use my friggin' coconut. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I've got a shitty coconut liqueur, which I never use. All right, I reckon this will be a fun drink. Fun drink time. Absinthe, come here. And I need lemon juice. And I need... where is it? This is it. All right, that sugar syrup. Where's lemon juice? It's there, bloody staring straight at it. Right, more lemon juice. Right. So, right. So, I'm just totally fucking making this up based on a couple drinks. Right. Kirsten, you love the Beechworth area. A lot of distillers and the cordials from Bilson's. Nice. All right. So, I don't have my jigger. I had it rinsing over here. Right. So, I'm kind of just making this up. L3, you had ginger beer with alcohol once. Yeah, well, there is alcoholic ginger beers and alcoholic ginger ales. On Stone's Green Ginger Wine, very popular in Australia. Right, I'm going to mess around. Absinthe, blue absinthe. 2 shots. We didn't come here to fuck around. All right. Skyclad. That is such a nice color. And as soon as you mix it with something, it goes really murky. Okay. This dodgy coconut liqueur. I go, what is this? Wipeout. A wine-based beverage. I just got this to have a coconut flavor in cocktails. And I hardly ever use it as a clear one. So, because that's clear, so far, still blue, actually. This might be interesting. So lemon juice, which may well react with the blue absinthe. Oh, hey, look, what's the... Okay, Do 1 shot of lemon juice. 1 shot of lemon juice. Still blue. I was going to use this really dark sugar syrup in it, which will see it's still a really nice blue. That will really fuck up the color if I put this in it. So that's what I'm going to do because I'm an anarchist. I'm out of control. I'm going to put 1 shot of the sugar syrup in. Yes, this is a science adjacent class, Nintendo Lunchbox. Hey Bex, how you doing? Yeah, Kirsten, the Wipeout does sound like it's for underage drinking on the beach. Yes, Bex, in time for blue cocktails, although I'm probably just about to ruin the color with this sugar syrup made from unrefined coconut sugar. Shazam! It's black. I could have used a more neutral sugar syrup and it would have stayed blue. Like if I was just drinking that, I would have used a neutral sugar syrup so it stayed blue. But I'm going to milk clarify this anyway. It's black. It's more sort of green. It's a really dark green. Yeah, it's everything I was going to put in. The coconut, the lemon, the sugar. Oh, some Peychaud's bitters. That also would have fucked up the color because it's red. Right, I'm going to put quite a few dashes of Peychaud's bitters in there. It was pretty well it lasted, Bex. Black cocktails, black as my soul. Okay, that is a decent whack of Peychaud's bitters in there. This is so fucking unscientific. I am just making this shit up. Right, so that was 2 mils. So I want about 2 mils of milk. Where's my milk? Oh, God, I think I did this ass backwards. Yeah, no, I should. I'm going to rinse this. Put that in my mixing glass because you got to add the booze to the milk, not the milk to the booze. What does it taste like? Oh, it tastes pretty good. I'm going to make one of those just for something to do. Right. All right. So we want about 2 ounces of milk in there. A little bit more in there. Got to rinse this out as well. Oh, could I measure 2 ounces on this? Quarter cup, 50 mils. Yeah, why don't I just fucking approximate? This is not science. This is not science. This is alchemy. So I want about 40 mils. It's got a marker for 50 mils. So about that much. That's what I reckon, about that much. Now, if we thought the black color was gross, now we get to see what color it goes when it's added to milk. Annette, you've been off child wrangling. Annette, this is 2 shots of absinthe, 2 shots of coconut liqueur, some lemon juice, and some sugar syrup, unrefined coconut sugar syrup. And now I'm going to add it to milk because I'm going to milk clarify it. Now, this is where we've got to take bets. After this is milk clarified and filtered, what color will it be? Most of the drinks come out some shade of yellow, somewhere between yellow and amber. This might come out green, though. Oh, look at what color it goes in the milk. Oh, my God. Look at that. Oh, it's just the worst. I love it. All right, so that's instantly curdled the milk, and I'm going to leave it sit while we talk. I reckon I'm going to make that drink with absinthe and the coconut and lemon another night, then it'll be a pretty blue color. Why is it black? It was blue up until the point I put this sugar syrup in it. This is a very dark sugar syrup. It's made from unrefined coconut sugar. And that basically turned it black. And then I did also put some Peychaud's bitters in, which is very red. That would have fucked up the color too. But the intention all along is to milk clarify it. So we add it to milk and it looks even worse, which is just, I love that so much. I've got I've got this spoon. I was going to stir it with the absinthe spoon. I'll just little stir just to make sure it's all blended in. So yeah, before I go to bed, I will start the filtering process because that will take a while, take an hour or so. And I might put it through a couple of times. Like I get up in the morning, I might put it through again. Depends what color it comes out, how clear it comes out. And into the lunchbox, Pepsi and milk from Laverne and Shirley did the same thing. Yeah, milk there are a couple of things that make milk curdle. I used to really like adding like Cottee's cordial to milk, which would make the milk curdle, but you shake so it all blends in. And I used to really like doing that with raspberry or lime, Cottee's cordial. As a young'un, lots of things make milk curdle. But yeah, citric acid in particular makes milk curdle. So you put a little lemon juice in there. Oh no, Gecko, it is definitely curdling. It is separating. It's the, if I leave it for a little while, it's not really necessary to leave it for a little while because it's already curdling, but they'll separate even more the longer I like. So you'll get a separation between the curds and the rest of the liquid. I mean, this kind of it's too low resolution on the camera, but particularly looking from the top, I can definitely see the curdling. And yeah, so before I go to bed, I'll set up the funnel with a coffee filter here and pour it through, and the curds sort of settle and they form an additional filtering level. Quite possible. I mean, even off the top of my head, I'd say I'm definitely going to put it through at least twice, maybe more. Yeah, because I really want to see what color it comes out. The vast majority of the drinks I've made have come out some shade of yellow, but because that's like the blue in the absinthe, that's an artificial color, and it's such a strong dye that it might come through. So the final product might be green. It looks very, very green at the moment, but I have learned from experience the color that it turns when you curdle it doesn't necessarily tell you what color it's going to be when you clarify it. So you're getting a blend tech blender. Will it blend? The Nintendo Lunchbox, call the drink a Little Miss Muffet because it's curds and whey. Yes. Well, this is a blend of two recipes here, the absinthe of normal and an absinthe sour. So if it works, if it's a good drink, I get to name it. I was even thinking of, because one of the absinthe coconut suggestion is called the absinthe of normal, you know, it's a pun on the absence of normal. And if I clarify it, I might call it clearly the absinthe of normal, which is a little bit cumbersome, but I do. I'm just like looking up weird cocktail names. Like this one's called a Dunderstruck. It's a pot still Jamaican rum with Italian red bitter liqueur, strawberry syrup, and pineapple juice, dash of absinthe, 2 dashes absinthe. Sounds pretty good. I don't know, pot still, Jamaican rum. These people who fucking obsess over all the variants of rum. Gecko, you're waiting for an electronics store to open. Time zones, they're weird. This one, I love looking at the cocktail names. The Italian Job, which is pot still American rum, Cochi Americano, Aperol or another Italian red aperitivo, a Bird aperitif, a aromatized wine, and orange bitters. Aromatized wine. Well, that's just fucking. God, why did my brain just stop working? This drink wasn't that strong. Vermouth. That's the word I was looking for. Vermouth. See, I'm not that big on rums. I use rums in cocktails, but I don't just drink rums. Hey, Megaleech, thank you for the happy tubiversary. Oh, this is really, really separating. Like a dark green drink with milk curds all through it is, yeah, pretty questionable stuff, honestly. Another night, I'm definitely going to make one. It's just the absinthe and the coconut and the lemon and a sugar syrup that won't color it. So I'll have this really nice blue cocktail because that's a good taste mix. Yeah. No, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I just got to rinse this. Actually, I probably don't have to. No, I'm going to. No, actually, I don't have to. God, I'm so indecisive. I do have to get a funnel. This one will do. So put that funnel in there. Get a coffee filter. Stop it. Oh, you still do. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head. So now we pour that into the coffee filter. Murky green. Oh, chunky milk curds. Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah, and the first stuff that goes through hasn't been filtered properly, so I will put it through again. Yes, it is my it's my 14th anniversary on YouTube, which is, you know, is it a criminal waste of time? Maybe. So rinse this out. And curd doesn't rinse milk curds. Ugh. Gotta wipe it. Get the milk curds off the glass. Right. Oh, so I don't know. Tomorrow or Thursday, I'll try this drink on the live stream. Yeah, Kirsten, I do leave it in the fridge to filter. Yes. Oh, do I? Yeah. See, okay. If you look up milk clarifying, you get a lot of instructions that are honestly quite superstitious. Like some people say you have to warm the milk. You don't have to warm the milk. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. Depends what type of drink you're doing. Like, because traditionally this was called a milk punch. And it has a milk punch has a lot of ingredients, often a lot of fruit, tea, whatnot. So it really is a punch type drink. And a lot of the recipes are for huge fucking, like serves to fill a huge fucking punch bowl. Like this is just a single drink I'm making because I don't know how it's going to turn out. So I'm not going to use up all my booze as an experiment. So yeah, so if you're infusing a lot of stuff, like particularly like with tea and fruit, and some people make spice mixes to go into it, you might, when you add it to the milk and it curdles stuff, you might want to leave that for a long time, like 12 or even 24 hours for all the flavors to infuse. But because I was just using spirits, I was not doing anything fussy, it's just spirits. It basically just leave it for until the milk curdles, which happens more or less instantly. You can leave it for half an hour or so, but it's not really necessary. So, okay, you can see that's really, actually it looks really dark on there, but it's very green. But I am definitely going to put it through multiple times to see how clear I can get it. Each time you put it through, it's slower because the curds solidify more and more, and it takes longer for the liquid to seep through. So this is an investment of a few hours, what I'm talking about. Yeah, each time I'm going to put it through probably at least 3 times. Each time I put it through, it takes a bit longer to go through, but it also will be a bit clearer each time. And in Nintendo Lunchbox, it does get rid of the gross, really dark color. Like you mix a bunch of these things often, particularly if you are using tea or something, it'll just go really dark, like, more or less black. And then when you clarify it, it'll be a much brighter color. And also, like particularly when you curdle it, it's really cloudy and gross. But when you filter it, clarify it, even if it's not clear, even if it's not transparent, it's very clear. It's not cloudy. Like this first run going through, it's very dark, and it's also a bit cloudy. So the second time I run it through, that should get rid of all the cloudiness, and the color will also probably be lighter. Third time, it'll probably be lighter still. Well, maybe not. This looks like, again, because the artificial color, the food dye that's in the absinthe is really strong, and it looks like it's going to hang around it. Looks like this is going to be green. I did do another one that had a bit of absinthe in it, and it was green. That was actually my signature cocktail, the Shut the Fuck Up. One shot of all my high alcohol spirits. So my absinthe and overproof rum and Navy strength gin and Irish moonshine, poutine. What else do I have that's really dangerous? So it's rum. Oh yeah, and my Rittenhouse rye, 100 proof rye. So it was 5 alcohols that were at least 50% alcohol, and going up to my absinthe, which is 80% alcohol. So they jump quite rapidly. There's like one that's 50%, one that's about 55%, one that's about 58%, and the rum is 69%. So that's a pretty big jump. But then the absinthe is 80% alcohol. So yes, the Shut the Fuck Up basically went this color, and then I milk clarified it and had it with lemonade, and it was basically a really nice green color. So I think this one's also going to be green, and that's the absinthe. The food dye in that blue absinthe is really strong. Like all the other ones, the ones that have brown spirits, they always filter somewhere between yellow and amber. But this one looks determined to be green. So, and that's fine. As Kermit the Frog said, it's not easy being green. We don't want to criticize it too much. Don't know why I suddenly invoked Kermit the Frog. Probably my childhood of watching endless hours of Sesame Street. It's a pot still Jamaican rum. I wonder how that's different to other rums taste-wise. I know, look, if things get back to, I think things are going to get back to normal. I don't know where. I don't know if there was a tiki bar in Melbourne, like went the whole thing with the decor and everything and did tiki drinks. And they had rum tasting nights. If they reopen, because a lot of people are going to have lost too much money to reopen. Annette, thank you for dropping by. I've got to go to bed too, for that matter. Thank you for the happy tubeversary wishes. Yeah, but if this tiki bar reopens, I might go there on their rum tasting night and actually say, look, man, I only have rum as mixers in cocktails. My palate for rum is severely uneducated. Like there's all this talk about, this with the Jamaican rum and the pot still rum. And I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't know what rum's meant to taste like on its own. Like particularly in tiki drinks, there's like usually so much fruit juice in a tiki drink that all you taste is the fruit juice, basically. Like even a zombie, which is normally like 3 or 4 different rums in it and whatnot, there's also 3 or 4 different juices in it. You end up tasting the juice. I did incidentally, in the early days of my milk clarification experiments, do a milk clarified zombie, which was really nice. Didn't taste at all alcoholic when I milk clarified it, which is super dangerous because I made it and I know there was a lot of alcohol. I had Captain Morgan spiced rum, my overproof rum, the plantation overproof, and Bacardi and Velvet Falernum, which is like a rum liqueur, and and a few fruit juices, and it didn't taste like alcohol. Gecko, you think there's no drink you've had that's supposed to not taste like alcohol where you couldn't? Well, okay, yeah, I guess I am exaggerating a little saying you couldn't taste the alcohol at all. But my thing was, considering how potent this drink was, like it was pretty goddamn strong. The milk clarified version tasted really light. I mean, like really light. All right, this is slowed down a bit. So I'm going to go to bed now. So I'm just going to put this lot through. See, that looks really black to you, but it's actually green. Pour it back in there. And this time it's going to go through slower. Oh man, that's tasting pretty good. Yeah, among the other things the milk clarification does, besides lightening the color of the drink, takes the edge off all the flavors. Whatever flavors you put in, and a lot of milk punch recipes recommend some quite strong flavors, like a lot of booze. They often recommend a whole bunch of spices in there and whatnot. The milk clarification process takes the edge off and really smooths out the flavors. Nintendo Lunchbox. After the stay-at-home orders are lifted, many bartenders are going to get complaints because I've heard bartenders say that and they're very worried about it. People have been mixing themselves really strong drinks at home and they'll get upset at bartenders. I actually haven't been doing that. I clearly could have, but I've been following recipes. I haven't been going, oh, they say 1 shot, I'm doing 2 shots. I follow recipes. Because they're balanced. Like, you'll get pissed faster if you put more in there, but I appreciate the balance of flavors. Gecko, can you clarify non-mixed booze, whiskey right out of the bottle? What you need is acid content. So if you add some lemon juice to whiskey, it will trigger the curdling process. I don't think just straight whiskey will sufficiently. I could be wrong. I actually could be wrong because I have not tried that. But I don't think just straight whiskey will sufficiently curdle the milk. And you need the reaction with the milk. But it might. It might do that experiment at some point because it's pretty easy to do. I just, have to sacrifice a little bit of whiskey with some milk. But yes, you'd have to use, I think you have to use at least some acid. Now, you could also use like citric acid, which I think is flavored as well. I meant to experiment with that as well. Yeah, Kirsten, you're confirming you need the acid. And I'll do this for a video one time, because citric acid will work. Like we've got citric acid for cooking. It's powder, and I'm going to do a video where I compare the result of using citric acid with one milk clarified drink and lemon juice with another, both visually, process and whatnot, and then the taste afterwards. Because I am intrigued as to how much that's going to change the taste. It's going to require a little bit of experimentation probably to get the right amount of citric acid as well. I think it's just like a really small amount. But that's definitely an experiment I'm going to do, doing the milk clarification with citric acid rather than citrus juice, to see how much difference that makes to the process and to the flavor. Because I love experimenting. Because again, then I'm not an alcoholic, I'm a scientist. I've got the two excuses. When I'm doing stuff with local produce, use Kirsten's excuse, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm supporting small business. And when I'm doing the experiments, it's like, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm a scientist. So, think. The two things you need for the clarification process to work is acid and fat content. So I still have to experiment with like nut milk. And I will probably make a cocktail that's already nut based, like a recipe that says to use a nut liqueur, and they're normally like hazelnut, like Frangelico or amaretto or whatever. But I want liqueur, so I'm going to make a cocktail that's already got a nut flavor profile, and see if I can clarify that with nut milk. I think I've got almond milk in there, and see how that tastes, because I have done a couple of experiments with coconut cream and I have not liked the result. Both times there was a flavor in there that I was just, ugh. Like fucking dairy milk, yeah, man. All the ones I've made with dairy milk have just been like, you beaut, I'm loving this. And I've made 2 with coconut milk, and it worked, like the process worked both times. But taste-wise, no, it was just not a happening thing. So I'll probably try once or twice more with coconut milk just to be sure. but I'm not a fan, which is weird because I really like coconut as a flavor. So it's weird. But I have to, for the vegans, I'm gonna have to try nut milk. And yeah, I'll try and make my life easier and make success more likely by making a drink that's already got nut flavor in it. And there's a lot of good drinks that have a nut liqueur as it, either hazelnut or almond based liqueurs. And yeah, I'll just use the macadamia liqueur I have as a substitute. Just got to decide on which one would be best. And then I'll make that. But keep doing the experiments. This is definitely coming out quite a dark green. Like, again, it probably looks black to you. In real life, it's very clear, but it's very dark green. Like that, the food dye in the blue absinthe is very strong. I'm going to put it through a couple times, though, which might make it lighter. Might, then again, might not. Right, I'm going to put this in the fridge, and I'm going to go to bed. But I'll say good night to you fine people. I think, is there any drink ice? I think this is just melted ice. Yeah, that's just water. That's melted ice. Bid you fine people farewell. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you keep well. I hope the day brings good things to you, and we catch up again sometime soon and see what is happening in our collective worlds. But tonight I am to bed, perchance to dream, and tomorrow is another day. So bye for now. Bye.